It is the Martha Zoller Show. Early voting is going on right now for our presidential preference primary on March the 12th. We are not a part of Super Tuesday. We are the week after that. Polls will be open for early in-person voting until the 8th of March. And then you can do absentee ballot. There's still time to do that. Or you can go on the day on the 12th from 7 to 7. So just want to let folks know about that. Take a look at the Hall County website about who's open, because every polling place is not open for early voting, but it's all the big ones. So it should be easy to find a place. I vote at the Nopone Road location, and I'll be going in next week and casting my vote. So when I saw this come across my desk, and Shondell Summers here with me, I just loved the idea because I love this product. It's called Lovesac. And Sean Nelson is the founder and CEO of this furniture manufacturer. And in this world where people are feeling like there aren't opportunities and how do we get things started, I thought it'd be a great thing to talk about on a Friday. And we appreciate him being with us today. Sean Nelson, welcome to the program.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks.
So I just love your commercials, number one. I love the idea of how you can put everything together. I haven't bought one yet, but I have looked at it a couple of times. But it's such an interesting product. First, tell us your story, just kind of in a thumbnail about Lovesac, and then I want to talk a little bit more about, how it's been such a success.
Yeah, look, this is a company I started in my parents' basement while I was in college, way back in 1998. I made a giant beanbag. People loved it, kept asking me for one. Finally started a little company to make them and sell them to friends and family. And they're not beanbags. They're filled with chopped foam. So if you've ever seen like an 8-foot across gigantic sack, it's probably one of ours. Celebrities, Hollywood, take your pick. NFL, they all have them now. And, we grew the company from the basement to eventually our own stores, to eventually trying to sell the couch that was kind of hiding in the corner to look pretty. And that evolved into Sactionals, which is what you see on the TV today. It's this modular couch that could be with you the rest of your life. It's propelled the company to now, the analysts show us that $700 million in sales this year. We're a public company traded on NASDAQ. It's been a long, crazy ride, and we've been through it all.
Well, and I think it's an amazing concept because it can move along with you. And that's why I've been looking at it. But I take a really long time to make furniture decisions. I'm one of those people that, I decorate an early fraternity because I hold on to things, for a really long time. But that's because I had boys and everything was getting torn up all the time. And so I'm slow to make decisions about furniture. I'll admit that about myself. But I loved how you talk about managing employees, okay? Because what I hear from the people I mentor that are on the employee side, they're looking for jobs, is that they're having a really hard time not getting that first job, but breaking through to the next job because they feel like they're not talking to human beings. So I'd love to know your thoughts about hiring and managing employees.
Yeah. Lovesac's evolved in a way we get to employ, almost 1,500 people between all the showrooms. We have 270 Lovesac locations in our headquarters, which is primarily remote. And so we hire all over the country now, people everywhere, and we're trying to build a culture that matters. We're trying to build a culture that is, hard driving for sure. We have top ambitions, but fun and a good place to work for people. And so we've embraced the remote first workplace. It's been really useful from a hub standpoint. And, we do have a high standard for hiring, but we love the opportunity to kind of hire people where they lie, so to speak, depending on geography, et cetera. So it's been, and, it is a tricky time, between, I think, in the employment market, between inflation and everything that's happened. And also, you have companies doing mass layoffs, even while other companies, depending on the sector, are driving and growing. And so it's a choppy time. And I think just like Lovesac's story, just have to stick with it and never give up.
Well, and do you do this thing in your hiring process? Because what I see, and again, I mentor a lot of 20s and 30s through my mentoring at the University of Georgia. I'm a graduate of the University of Georgia, and what I hear from them is that we do these online applications and then we don't hear anything, and in fact it says don't contact us. And I'm an old employer, okay, and when I hire people, I need something that's going to separate somebody, and I like it when people follow up and say, hey, I'm still interested out here. What are your thoughts on that? Do you hear that from people?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have prospective employees that slide into my DMs and hit me up on LinkedIn and try and find any way to get a toe in the door. And I think it has been useful. It has gotten some people to that interview opportunity. What I see is a lot of times people reaching way beyond their experience level. Like they want a certain job, but they just do not have the qualifications for that job. I mean, a certain job sounds cool, but they're not a product engineer or something that, is the right experience level. And so I think it's very important that you either go get that education experience level and that you're applying for roles. There's no shame in reaching, but it needs to be, one or two rungs up, as it were, and not 20 or just in the wrong direction. Otherwise, it's really a waste of time. And in fact, where I've had people chase me down to try to get that interview, I can't help them if they're just not qualified for that certain position. It's really not a good use of their time or mine, of course. And so I think it's very important that people are really honest with themselves and are looking to make moves that are fitting of their experience, etc.
We're talking to Sean Nelson. He's the CEO and founder of Lovesacks, which is this, I love the Sactional, which is, you'll see the commercials everywhere. And just one final question. How did luck play into your journey, and how do you think it plays into the journey of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so I've recently published a book called Let Me Save You 25 Years. With all kinds of epithets, and it's actually, the subtitle is Mistakes, Miracles, and Lessons from the Lovesack Story. And one of my chapters is actually entitled Make Your Own Luck. And it was a lesson taught to me by Richard Branson, who was one of my mentors. I won Richard Branson's, this is the billionaire founder of Virgin Everything. I won his reality TV show way back in 2005. That's part of our story. We didn't have time to cover, of course, as well, and share the story where he kind of taught me this lesson, and I've lived it ever since. The luck that we experience comes from our actions. So listen, I'm not against you hunting people down, as you said, to go get that job, to go get that opportunity to raise the money, to start your company, whatever it is. You have to be persistent to the nth degree, and that's how we get lucky. And the book talks all about it. The podcast as well. Let Me Save You 25 Years. I think it's really great. We have guests like Richard on the pod discussing topics like this with me, and we try and go a little bit deeper than we can, in a few minutes here. But really grateful for the opportunity.
Well, I will be following your podcast because it is something that I love to help young people with, and because I do think you need that kind of mentor. You need somebody that's gonna kind of give you encouragement, because especially after the last few years, I think there was a lot of isolation that happened related to people in work, and some of it was necessary, some of it was not, and then getting back out there again is really difficult. I mean, I was one of these people that felt like, if I could just get the interview, I would get a job offer. I was just one of those people because I knew how to do a job interview. And throughout my life, and I'm kind of more at the end of my career than the beginning of my career at this point in time. My first year in the workforce was 1980, so I'll be 65 this year. So it's been a long journey, but I've learned a lot. But the best part about what I've done is been able to help other people, and be able to mentor folks, because it does help to be able to have personal connections. It does help to be able to put somebody together with somebody else. and help them with that. And we shouldn't lose that personal connection. I think that's really important too.
Absolutely. I think the ability to interact and be with people is a skill that will. And so pushing yourself out of the nest, going to events, saying yes, showing up, shaking hands, and being uncomfortable with the rest of them, who are all uncomfortable, by the way, at all those events. You have to really push yourself to develop that skill. And, that's the same reason I wrote my book, is just to put it out. All proceeds are donated to the Future Business Leaders of America, really just trying to be useful, be helpful. Same thing with the podcast. I have no advertisers. So like you, just trying to give back, trying to share the little bit of knowledge or sometimes maybe a lot in certain realms that I've been able to garner along the way. Hopefully it can be useful to young people especially.
Sean Nelson, CEO and founder of Lovesac. Let me save you 25 years, mistakes, miracles, and lessons from the Lovesac story. It's a book, it's a podcast, and we appreciate you being with us today.